because we are the same type of person. I'm her type. She doesn't even realize that because she's fucking used to defining herself and pigeonholing herself into a box and representing herself as a way of being that is limiting and that she says or thinks fashions herself as an individual, which is not really who she is, or it's parts of her, but not the whole her. So when she sees someone like me, she's like, he's the opposite. But it's actually, I appeal to something deep within her, obviously. And because of that, she has parts of herself that she hasn't even discovered yet, because she hasn't allowed herself to be that way. And because of that, she has life skills that she hasn't even developed, because she needs to allow herself to be more assertive and less of a people pleaser. And that's not me talking shit, that's just being honest. But she doesn't know that because she doesn't fashion her, she self-limits herself in a certain box and doesn't act a certain way. She doesn't act out on her anger because she thinks that's like unfeminine or ungraceful. But she's in the process of doing that. She's cloistered herself in self-limiting expressions because she has a dark side. Let me tell you that. She has a dark side. And I want her to be able to integrate her dark side with her light side and not see them as mutually exclusive ways of being. Because she likes to fashion herself as light and love and a hippie. But Charlie Manson was a fucking hippie. And he was a fucking really crazy motherfucker and evil. And just because you're a hippie doesn't mean that you don't have a dark side, because that was my flaw when I was growing up. I thought that I never wanted to identify as a hippie because I thought hippies were too light and love, and I thought that was weak. So I didn't allow myself to identify with that to my own detriment. But had I been more in touch with my inner sense of peace and feelings and shit, then maybe I wouldn't have made such tiresome life decisions at certain points in my life, because I always wanted to fucking scare people off, and it helped. But I also denied my humanity in the process, and that's no way to live. So that's the important thing to remember. And you are a person, and there's nothing wrong with being a person. There's nothing, it's a power, it's a superpower when you care about others. There's nothing wrong with, if you can't fucking relate to people or empathize with people, then something happened in your brain where you lost a vital component of how to be a human. Because if you can't tune in to people's emotions and feelings and empathize, then that's a hindrance, that's not a strength. That means that person lacks motivation, most likely, because caring is motivation. When you care for someone, that's motivation to do things. So someone who doesn't have that component is fucked. You know, seriously, if they don't care, then they're not human. They're not fully human. And you don't need to be this fucking, that's why they say antisocial disorder, personality disorder has traits of like, no long-term goals or anything. It's because they don't think, they don't have the motivation, because they're a stunted shell of a person. And to be like that is not good. Like I said, that's a hindrance, not a strength. Because if you care about someone, then you're motivated to act in conjunction with that care. And when you're motivated to act, then you get things done, and then you go to the top of the hierarchy. It's never because no one cares or a person doesn't care that happens. It's because they care that they go to the top of the hierarchy. Because if you don't care about others, then others are a reflection of you. We're social beings. if you don't care about others, then that means that person doesn't care about themselves, because no man is an island unto himself. Everyone is interrelated. And that's the important thing to remember, because if you want to care about others, first you have to care about yourself. But when you care about yourself, don't get so lost in selfishness, and don't become so self-absorbed that you can't relate to others, because that's how Narcissus in Greek mythology fell into the river and drowned, because he was in love with his own reflection. And the answer is, that is vanity. That is the sin of vanity. That is, or ego, pride. That is vanity. When someone becomes so immersed in themselves that they stop being immersed in others. Because love fucking does shit to you, dude. Love makes you fucking care. Makes you want to fight for something. That's why a king goes to fucking war, because he loves his country. It's why it's like why the 300 of Sparta conquered the fucking what were they? The Babylonians? The Persians? No, the Persians. Yeah, they conquered the Persians because they fucking had love and devotion to a cause. You can't be devoted to a cause if you don't love the cause. They were devoted to themselves, and their love and camaraderie outshines any fear that they had. And they conquered an army that was much larger because they had passion. And you don't accomplish shit without passion. And they had that passion, that's what led them to victory. So act like that.